Welcome to a new series of C++ that I'll be teaching to you people. So firstly, I'll be starting with some things that you would need basically to code in C++. So the first thing that you would need is that you would need to install VS Code. So you will need to install VS Code, okay? So you can install it from here, and secondly you will need the G++ compiler. So I will link down the video in the description, and you can watch that to install the compiler. So next we will move towards how to begin. So basically what you can do is that you can create any folder and you can basically name it whatever you want, basically C++, and you can navigate inside of it. And what you can do is you can open it in terminal. In Windows I will link down a video and you can see how to do it in Windows, but the way to do it in Windows is also very similar. So now you will type code space and dot, and you will press enter. So your VS Code would open. So after this, what happens is that basically I've already created a file over here, so I will use that. So what you can do now is that you can create a new file from here. You will simply click this and you will type main.cpp. You will press enter. So this creates a main.cpp file, and now to begin, what you will do simply is that you will simply type include iostream using namespace std int main. Yes, so you will type this, and later I will tell you why what actually these things are. So basically this is the setup that you will need to do to begin. Okay, so now I'll tell you that how you can print something in C++. Basically when you will print something, it will get printed in this terminal which you see over here. For those who are using Microsoft Visual Studio, they can simply, there's a sort of a button over here. First you can basically build and compile and run something like that. You can simply click it and it will run your code, and you will see the output in the console. That's how it generally works. So let's see how we can print something. So this is the syntax of printing something on the screen. So let's run this, and if you're using G++ compiler, the command is G++ main.cpp-o main. You basically run this. So as you can see over here that it makes some sort of a file or something like that over here, and you can simply run that. Basically it prints hi, I am someone. So this is the way that you can print something. Now suppose if we are going to take some input from the user, how can we do that? But for that we will need to store the input somewhere. You can't just take the input and display it on the screen. First you need to take the input, and then you need to store it somewhere somewhere, basically a sort of a container which can store your input. And for that we have variables. So there are different types of variables in C++. Now one of the most common types is int type of variable. So the variable, this is a sort of a container which can store the int type of data. Basically int is a data type which contains integers. Basically int supports integers and int type variables can store integers and them. So basically to store something you need to first you will tell the user to enter something and L. Basically this is for next line, end of line. You can store something like this simply. Now if we run this, now it's telling me to enter something. I will simply enter, but you must keep this in mind that you must enter an integer, because if you will enter something else it will show you an error. So you can enter something like 10. So what it did is that it stored it inside of this variable. Basically I entered 10 and it came inside of this variable. Basically the space which was allocated to this variable in the memory, our integer basically went inside of that container, sort of container. And if we want to make sure that if our value has actually been stored, what we can do is that we can print our value. Now if we run this, let's say 20, so it prints the integer 20 again.